What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin, and I am your host here. And today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
What's up, Ben? Glad to be back. And actually, we're recording this intro a little bit after we recorded the episode.
At some point, you will get to an occasion where we're like, should we stop? Because we've been doing After the Final Pop for a long time. And then we're sort of like, maybe we just keep going and this is just an episode.
Right. Maybe we just had a lot to talk about this week. And we covered a lot of bases. Ben is going to kick things off by getting kind of deep and having a hard conversation with himself where he almost makes himself cry. Stay tuned for that.
Oh, yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's great. Maybe we should always do the intro like this.
Maybe. And then there was the time that I talked about teaching Addison how to ride a bike.
Yep, that's going to happen too.
Also wonderful.
Yep.
We learned a little bit about Jay's love or not so love for Pringles.
Wow, we're really going to have to stay tuned for that one.
I know. That's like deep in the episode.
That's deep.
There's some major stuff to cover there.
Yeah.
I like this. Yeah. Maybe we should always do it. Like that way people get like a little teaser reel.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like we just start talking and then we get to the end and then we do the intro so then we can tell them what we talked about.
Right. Yeah.
Future us are so much smarter than past us.
Wow. It only took us 326 episodes.
Wow. New format unlocked.
Boom. All right. Well, anyway, enjoy the pop.
Here's a weird question for you. Do you think we should be having more hard conversations with the people in our lives?
More hard conversations with the people in our lives. I mean, I don't think you have to have hard conversations for the sake of having hard conversations.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I had to have a hard conversation a few months ago with someone in our lives, and it was a very challenging experience to say the least, because it's like a people pleaser's worst nightmare.
Right.
Basically, is like leveling with someone and basically like sometimes I think that there's a reality that can happen, which is that when you are living in the driver's seat of your own existence, like a lot of like the ups, downs, all arounds that you go through all feel like perfectly validated, like because you're living it. So it's like anything that like goes good or bad, it's like you were directly involved with it, and it's sort of like you understand how it could have gone either which way.
Right.
But then sometimes I feel like people who are close to you start to recognize certain patterns of behavior that you might have a harder time seeing, but somebody else can almost drop the hard truth on you.
Right.
And it's like, I think for most of my life, the idea has been to be as programmed to be as like amicable as humanly possible.
Right.
Like I want to have positive interactions with people.
Right.
And sometimes that means not saying something that you could say.
Yeah.
And I think
if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. And I do think that there's a lot to be said for that. Like the very important distinction between having like speaking up about something and having a difficult conversation. There's actually a really good line from Wise Man's Fear, which is in the Name of the Wind saga, where Quoth, the main character, is super, super smart. And he tells this story that basically has no meaning. And it's like a campfire story that he like tells the rest of like this troop that he's traveling with. And they get to the end of the story and they're like, well, what the heck was that? Like, what's the point of it? And it's like, there is no point of it. And it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, like when I was a kid, I like crushed, riddles like walnuts. And so when my dad ran out of those, he started telling me stories that just like have no point. They just make you think. And one of his friends is sort of like, well, that's not a very nice thing to do. Just like telling like a ridiculous story to like shut up a kid. And Quoth responds like, no, it wasn't done out of meanness. Like it taught me like how to think, you know? And so I thought about it. And the phrase, it's not done out of meanness, is like something that I feel like has bolstered the hard conversation I had to have.
Yeah.
Because I know in my heart, no part of me was attempting to be mean.
Right. I think, because that's the thing. It's like, there's like, do you need to have a hard conversation or do you want to be nice? And it's like, you can have a hard conversation, like having a hard conversation that where you have to say things that are difficult to hear might still be the nice thing to do.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And like, I think that, like like I've talked about like mentors before. I've talked a little bit about like the outdoor boys, like watching this guy like Luke go out there and be like a content creator, but also like thinking in a way that I feel like I've been able to like learn from, and like the way that he like handles everyday life, the way that he like works with his kids. Like there are like things where I'm like, wow, I'm like learning from this person. This is amazing, and like sometimes I feel like main characters in like movies will have like a mentor that like will step in and like deliver like the occasional like hard truth that the main character needs to hear to grow.
Right.
And I think that that's like a big part of it as well, is that like you want to hear these things to grow. To be a better person. And so like, a lot of times like I covet the idea of like almost having like a mentor who can come in and look at my life and like give me guidance from someone who is like very close to me and who can like see my own patterns of behavior. I even think sometimes when I go to therapy, I want this to happen.
Right.
Like I want the therapist to be sort of like, you realize every single thing you bring up comes back to this same problem, right? Like it's all this.
Right.
Everything is this.
Right.
You can color it any which way you want. It's always this.
Right.
Like.
Right. That's not what happens though.
No, that's usually not what happens.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
You got too many problems.
too many problems. Yeah, with unique sources. Yeah, I'm deeply unlucky. No, I mean honestly, it's the truth though. It's like sometimes I think like that I would be more open to hearing harsh truths, especially if I could recognize the behaviors, or if somebody could like show their work.
Right.
Like tabulate it for me. Like let's look at this.
Right.
Because if I'm doing something that is like regularly a problem that has a ripple effect that's like causing my life to be more difficult than it should be, I would much rather just solve that.
Right.
Put that under the microscope, figure out how to like overcome this challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like, I would say I'm always like on a quest for self-improvement in a way that I think could sometimes be like grating in its own way. Because it can sometimes be like, okay, can you just stop already?
Right.
Well,
the thing is like you have to define what improved means, like what do you mean by self-improvement?
Well, I guess that's a good question. Like being better at interacting with others while also being more at peace with yourself.
Okay.
I think is probably the biggest thing.
For you.
For me.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. For me. Like I think, I think there was like a period of time, for example, like where I would have said that I loved having like subscriptions to a variety of services because it meant that I always had a new piece of mail arriving on my doorstep.
Right.
And that was a way for me to like almost hack a dopamine supply.
Right.
Because it was sort of like, oh, I got to come home today and there's a new bar of soap. I got to come home today and there's a new pack of razors. I got to come home today and there's, a HelloFresh box or whatever. And it's like, it gives me like a new thing. And if I have enough of those going and they're sprinkled in all the time, it's like, haha, I've cracked the code. I have programmed dopamine into my front doorstep every time I get home from work.
Booyah.
But I think I quickly realized that most of those things don't provide any lasting happiness. Certainly at times they're providing a function.
Right.
And it's not that I'm opposed to that function. I think I stopped depending on it for joy.
Right.
Because I think I very quickly realized how shallow the experience was.
Right.
It was sort of like, once you've got like 15 bars of soap, like you're not really that excited for the soap anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And then at some point in time, it's just like, I just need to check my budget. And it's like, why am I subscribed to like, $230 worth of like random crap every month when I've got more razors than I could ever use in my life.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like
Cancel a few of these.
Exactly. And so I think like the growth would be like interesting to even like look at on a map, because somewhere on that journey, it might be like, I wanted to raise enough income so that I had money to do things that would make me happy. And then I made the income and started doing the things that I thought would make me happy. The growth was realizing that those things don't actually bring happiness.
Right.
And then almost having to like recalibrate a little bit to be like, okay, what do I actually like value in life.
Right.
You know, and it's like time spent with friends. And like, so a lot of times time spent with friends doesn't require spending money at all.
Right.
Whereas I would have usually thought that like and this is where like, you know, marketing maybe gets you, or capitalism or whatever. It's like, in order to be happy, you need to spend money. Like that's the prerequisite.
Right.
You need to have money to be happy because you get happiness from buying things.
Right.
And it's like, no,
That's
not how it works.
Nope.
But then it changes the way you shop. And then if it changes the way you shop, then you have more resources available for other much more meaningful things. So like a quality of life upgrade at my home, like spending money to have like a professional come in to solve an everyday problem and just solve it well is something I have a huge amount of value in.
Right.
So it's like, you know, if I can not spend money frivolously and then spend it to have a landscaping company come and like fix a shrub, it's like, that was so worth it to me.
Right.
And it does bring me repeat happiness.
Right.
And I'm proud of my house.
Right.
You know, and like being proud of the place I like live in does give me more ongoing joy, but it's not the superficial things. It's the small things.
Right.
It's an outdoor faucet that works.
Right.
You know, it's like that has deep value to me.
Right.
Because then I can like set up the sprinkler for Addison and the sprinkler costs $7.
Right.
You know, and like that's, the sprinkler wasn't expensive. The experience of having the faucet there and like
Right.
how it solves a problem for me so I can do a fun thing
Right.
brings real joy.
Exactly.
And so like these are like little micro lessons that, you know, there was almost no way to learn them other than like barreling through them.
Right.
And a huge amount of privilege certainly is attributed to the fact that, you know, we've done well enough that I've been able to make mistakes about what would make me happy and learn from what didn't work.
Right.
You know, you get to test a bunch of experiments,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
That was a big brain dump.
That was good. I felt you were getting a little emotional there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, and so anyway, like this is something though, that like I think having the hard conversation, like I said, it's like my worst nightmare as like a people pleaser, because I know how much it sucks to say something to somebody. It's going to be hard to hear, but if it's not done out of meanness and it gives them information from you that is genuine, then it does a couple of different things. It gets it off your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep expecting somebody to change, to grow without having told them what's happening, then you're waiting for spontaneous growth from no source.
Right.
And so it's like, if you want them to like be better with their finances, or, you know, just take a little better care of themselves, or eat healthier, or, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to pick like generic examples for things you might be interacting with.
Right.
Like it's like, if you're seeing them struggle and you've never said anything, then you can't expect them to just like spontaneously spark into being better.
Right.
And therefore it's like unfair to have that expectation. But if you communicated it, and then they almost like persist otherwise, it can almost be a permission to be like, this might not be the kind of person who I want to keep in my close orbit because it demonstrates a bad practice that's not good for me.
Right.
And then it doesn't feel mean anymore. It feels like self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, it's acceptable to be like, this is something that's like hard for me to be close to. I've expressed the concern to you. You continue to do the behavior anyway. And like, now I've tried to communicate it. The opportunity has been available for change, and either that change did or did not happen.
Right.
And if it does happen, then it probably improves your relationship and trust and back and forth and everything there. And then you have a richer relationship.
Right.
Which is good.
That is good.
That's a more bountiful thing to have in your life.
Right.
That will bring more joy.
Right.
You know, because then the door may even be open for them to do the same back to you.
Sure.
Which could be helpful.
That could be helpful as well. Yeah. I would like just I think the thing to be aware of is that like, it's like you're saying, if you're waiting someone to change, but you haven't told them, like, how can you expect them to? It's like, that doesn't mean that they're not trying to improve themselves at the same time.
I would agree with that completely.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And just like be aware that like that it is your opinion that they should change.
Also true.
Right.
Yep.
Which doesn't mean you're wrong or not. Like maybe they absolutely should. Maybe it's a real problem that they just seem blind to in their own life, kind of thing.
Right.
Right. Like, it's just like you say you want this, and I watch it every day, and you just can't get out of your own way. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but like, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think on some level it's like there's no, I have no process for who gets to be in my life. Like, I'm not very deliberate, like, about being like, no, you're not good for me. I need you to not be around. It's like, if somebody's not good for me, then like, it's sort of like, well, I can't just stop being friends with them. Like that would be like,
right,
like rude or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I think on some level, it's almost like the ability to speak up can be like, look, I told you that this is like sort of like a deal breaker for me. Like this, it's like I can't really be around this behavior. It's not good for me to be around it.
Right.
And so it's not that you have to change for me. It doesn't mean that I'm right. I'm just telling you this is what I like I think is best for me, is to be or not be around this kind of behavior.
Right.
And then it's like, if they, value my friendship or respect my opinion or any of those types of things, maybe effort is made, or maybe it's not. And I think that like, I guess maybe that's like the permission that like I needed to like give myself, would be like, yeah, I told you that this was something that like I'm not really comfortable with, and you've continued anyway. And so like, sorry.
Right.
But that is historically, that's been hard for me.
Right.
To do that otherwise. Like, I think back about like a lot of like the more peripheral friendships I had going through like high school and stuff. And it's weird to almost think back about some of them and be like, wow, they were pretty toxic. Like,
right.
Like that was not a good person to have around. Like, why did I never do anything about it? But it was like, it was habit to be friends with them.
Right.
It was like I sat next to them in this class, or, they were on the team with me, or they were friends with this other friend. And so they were always just sort of around.
Right.
And it's like trying to be choosier, I think, can sometimes be helpful.
I think it's probably, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think, I've definitely had people in my life where it was just like, maybe if I just put up with them longer, I'll understand them better. Or maybe they'll just like realize they're bothering me, or that like whatever they keep doing is like not working,
Right.
Like, but you're right. Like at some point it's like, either you need to speak up or point it out to them, or just cut them out of your life or something, especially if it's causing you like daily stress.
Well, and I think that's the thing, is that like it's been a very slow process. And I think because so much of the work that I've done, like, through therapy and through these deep conversations that I feel like we're, in some ways always having, it's like, it's not that I don't feel like I'm making progress. It's just like the roadmap isn't very clear. So it's like, I feel like I'm like walking through a jungle, and I'm always slashing forward, and I'm like cutting the branches down. And it's almost like you're making progress, but you're always standing right in front of the next detail you don't fully understand, which is the next thing that needs to be like chopped.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I'm learning better behaviors, and I'm learning how to like better balance like who I keep in my life, and how to identify things I don't like to be around. But I feel like a big part of it is like, I still don't want to just like rule people out because they do something that I don't like. Like that doesn't seem fair. And so that's when I think the communication is like critical.
Right.
And that's where it almost feels worth it to me to have a hard conversation in the name of bettering the relationship.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. Especially like, I think we're just also entering like a phase of our own lives where it's like we've got like small children and stuff. And the very nature of that means that you are just less available in general. Like your available free time plummets,
Yeah, for sure.
And therefore, it like how you spend that free time and who you spend it with suddenly seems like,
that's well said. Yeah.
It
matters a lot.
It matters a lot. And it's like, look, like, when I had all the free time in the world, and if I spent an hour with you and you bothered me, whatever, You know,
I
I'm
have
heading to
lots-
something else, you know, next.
I have lots of other hours.
I have lots of other hours, but you know, like I've been watching you do this thing to yourself for the last 10 years and like I've told you about it and I don't have that many hours to spend anymore.
Right.
And
Yeah.
if I spend it with you, it's just driving me crazy kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it's, you know, it's the way in which dialogues can like exist in the back of your mind. Like it's like if you're, I remember one of the very first like aha moments I had with a therapist was she was like, how often do you just sit down and read a book? And I was like, never, literally never, not at all. I don't do it at any.
Right.
0 minutes a day.
Right.
And she was like, what? And I was like, when would you have time? Like at minimum, if I'm reading a book, I'm also doing yard work or folding laundry or washing
Right.
dishes.
You're like listening to the book. Yeah.
You're listening to the book and also doing a different productive thing, because the idea of simply getting to sit down to read the book is like, no way.
Right.
Like that would be the most indulgent thing I could imagine doing.
Right.
And I don't think that's true for everybody. I think sitting down to read a book is an extremely healthy activity.
Right.
But a lot of times, like if my mind is chewing on a dozen different like social interactions that I've had, then I can't do it. I can't sit down. Like it's almost like I need to be doing 2 things at once, because then my mind can be working passively on the task like mowing the lawn or washing the dish, because like that gives it like the mechanical thing to think about, while the deeper parts of my brain are listening to the story and envisioning the world and the characters and the interactions. It's
Right.
like I've busied my mind with 2 things so that I don't think about all the other interactions.
Right.
But if I just sat down to read the book, I would be reading the book, but I'd be thinking about the other stuff.
Right.
So I need to distract myself from the thoughts so that I can listen to the story, you know? And like, I think what I'm trying to do is to eliminate the thoughts.
Well, what did your therapist say about that?
I've not pitched this idea to them.
You haven't pitched this idea to them? You didn't, like when they said you never read a book, you didn't tell them that?
I didn't realize it then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, I think when they said that, I was like, read a book, as if anybody has time to read books, which actually that's actually a joke. I never would have that thought. Plenty of people have time to read books, and it's a great way to spend your time. But like for me to look at my own life, to think about like when I would have the opportunity to do it, it feels like nonsense.
Right.
It's like, I don't know how. But what I've identified is the problems that stop me from doing such a thing.
Right.
And it's like, I need to fix those problems. I need to go through and I need to like chop down all that. That's the
Right. So you're just trying to read a book.
I'm just trying to read a book.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want to get to the point where I can sit down and read a book and not feel bad about it.
So the flags that get raised would almost be like, if I were to like pick up, like, you know, I'm looking at a copy of Name of the Wind right now, and there's a couch right in front of us. Like if I were to think like, what would stop me from picking up that book and sitting on that couch and opening it and reading page 1? It's like, those are the flags. It's like, what does your mind immediately go to? That's what I need to work on.
Right.
That relationship, that problem, that situation, that personal shortcoming, whatever the case may be. You know, it might be the case that it's like you must go for a run before your brain will ever let you sit down with the book.
Right.
Because if you're reading a book, you could be running.
Right.
You know, like, and it's the same thing. It's the limited hours.
Right.
You know, it's like if I have limited hours, I probably need to take care of my physical body because I have responsibility to my family.
Right.
You know, more so than I do reading Name of the Wind for the 800th time.
Right.
Even if I would love to.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
Which I would.
there it is, man.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Yep.
No, so I think it's good discovery. And so like, you know, as always, like when I have these conversations, it's like, I do think I made a lot of progress. And having hard conversations, I think it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, like maybe you need to sit down. Like maybe you're like letting people who drag you down spend too much time in your life, and they're using too many of those precious hours, and you can't have that.
Right.
You got to fix it.
Right. Right. So there you go. I guess you need to have some hard conversations, maybe.
Maybe so. Yeah. So which I don't think is the worst thing. I just think it's growth. It's like the next thing I've figured out that makes sense to me.
Right.
To do. But then it's a matter of like pulling the person away for the hard conversation.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And to arrange this.
It's like, oh boy. Now, especially it's like how
Sat you down here today.
right. Yeah. It's like, here's the thing. I never got resolution on this, so we're not leaving until we do.
We're going to talk about it.
Right. And then if you're sort of like, no, that's dumb. It's like, all right, that sounds good. I don't need you here anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and hopefully in my mind, at least hopefully what would happen is if you can go through and almost like clear all that stuff out of the way, it'll make room. It'll make it feel like there's more hours.
Right. Yes. Hopefully that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Anyway, I think that probably brings us to the end of today's episode.
I think so.
How about that?
What do you know?
Yeah. In other news, my teeth are really moving.
Oh, are they? Yeah. With your Invisalign or?
Yeah. It's like, I'm like looking in the mirror and it's like, you almost don't even need the progress photos anymore to see the
you
progress.
can just see it.
It's
You're
like,
just right there.
Like, whoa.
Man.
Starting to look real different.
Nice. I would say also the same is true on my weight loss journey here.
It is also apparent from an outsider's perspective.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, you look different.
Okay.
Yeah. It's great. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
All your hard work is paying off.
Thanks. Good.
You're welcome. Do you think that clears up any brain space for you?
Probably a little bit. Yeah. It's been really encouraging. So like in terms of like, I probably didn't like step on the scale to look at it for like, I don't 10 years or something.
Wow. That's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just because I think I didn't really have a good idea in my mind about like what I thought I should weigh or anything.
It's hard to know like what the ideal number is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think and like I sort of felt like, okay, I'm like probably around like 180, 185 or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, thereabouts. But like if I step on it and it's just like way higher or something, that's only like, I don't know. I didn't really know. It felt to me that there was no good number it could say.
Okay.
You know, that I would be like, because I didn't really know what I was looking for.
Yeah, I think that,
I guess
that makes plenty sense. Yeah,
right.
I can understand that.
Like, it's just like, this is, it does, you know, not knowing I felt like it was helpful to me because I didn't want to deal with like feeling bad about it.
Okay.
I guess. The downside of that though, is that if you're not on the flip side though, like when I finally like stepped on it and I like looked at the number and I was like, sure enough, I was like unhappy with it, but it gave me like the ability to do something about it. And,
Yes.
you know, I think in my mind, I was like, okay, well, you know, as long as I'm like eating clean and like, you know, exercising and stuff, or like, you know, generally trying to be healthier, like, it's probably pretty good. And I feel like that's, you know, more or less how I try to live most of the time. But what has become really obvious to me is that like in my mind, if I've been at like 185-ish, you know, for the last like, I don't know, 10 years of my life, like that's just not true. There's no way it's true because there's no way because the journey back down has been like so intentional and so like check it every day kind of thing.
Yeah.
That, like there's no way I was accidenting my way back down. You know, there's no way just like regular unintentional living was going to get there.
Right.
You know, like that just wasn't true.
Yeah.
Whereas like on the other hand though, it's like looking at it and like every single day and like tracking it and like thinking about it has like clearly moved the needle, and it's made it like I don't even care, you know, about like stepping on it and looking at it every day because it's like it like just really helps like unlock the part of you that's like don't look because looking will be scary kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like the avoidance thing,
right?
I mean,
yes,
it's almost what I was describing. I think a little bit with like if you try to sit down and your mind is distracted by these conversations you had or whatever, then it's like you're avoiding confronting those conversations,
right?
And I think that like if you're avoiding something in life, then it's distracting you more than you think it is,
right?
You know,
right?
And so like by not stepping on the scale, it's sort of like, well, you know, I'm avoiding whatever that number is, but then like, is there a part of your brain every time you go and eat like a slice of pizza or something, you know, it's like, is there a part of you that is like quietly being judgmental of yourself,
right? For
that, like where it's like, I ate a little unhealthy today. And it's like, you know, if you have greater agency and ownership over your relationship with whatever that happens to be, then it might be the kind of thing where you're like, you know what? I've done extremely well this week. I've been super active. I made it to the gym X number of days. I swam this many miles. Like, I'm allowed to eat this slice of pizza completely guilt-free.
I think it's not even that. I think even that feels like a little bit like, oh, like food is a reward kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Which I'm like, which I don't love, because like, I think the main thing has been how much, like the amount that you might indulge in like pizza or something, you know, where like I have been around pizza plenty since I've started doing this. And like typically what I've been trying to do is like just have a slice of pizza.
Okay.
Right. And it's like, I will eat it, because normally it would not be uncommon for me to eat like 2-3 slices, you know, if I felt like it.
Sure.
And not really think much of it. But like, I will sit there and like, I will think, I'll eat my, I'll look maybe for like what looks like the wider slice, like somewhere someone was a little uneven with these slices.
Sure.
Whatever. Take your one, eat it, enjoy it, try and eat it slower, and then just that's it or whatever. Because I think the thing that I've really had to like train myself out of is like feeling like every meal needs to be like the best meal it could have been at that moment.
Okay.
Or whatever. Or feel like, because what'll happen is I'll have that one slice and then I'll go home and it's like, I'm not actually hungry afterwards.
Like you're satiated. And
right.
You haven't given yourself credit for what satiated might feel like.
Exactly. Like I think I have been like overindulgent on the experiencing it in my mouth half of it, and not just like, you know, saying like, is my night, I will have this conversation. It's like, is my night really better if I have 2 slices of pizza instead of 1 slice of pizza?
Right.
You know? And it's like, the answer is like, not really. Like if you're still starving afterwards, then yes, go for it. Clearly, if you're starving, yeah, it's probably because you're hungry.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
kind of thing. But it's like, is it going to make a difference to the rest of your life if this lunch right now is a burger or a salad, right? Like, are you going to remember this burger for the rest of your life? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Food is, I think, quite fleeting.
Yes.
Or can be.
Right.
You know, it's like you can have the best meal you've ever had, and it's like at some point in time, it's still in your rearview mirror, and it is no longer bringing it no longer can give you energy.
Right. Exactly.
It's expired.
Right.
You know? And it's
right.
like, oh.
So it's like, part of me is like, you know, oh, we're at this like this restaurant. I'm like, we're out or whatever. Like, I gotta get something fun, you know? Like I would have that conversation with myself like all the time. And it's just like, it really, like, it's just lunch. It's just lunch on Wednesday, you know?
Right.
It's like, I'm just going to eat the food and then move on with my day. And I can eat food that is going to be like really good for me and still taste good, not like going to be bad.
Right.
Or I can be like indulgent or whatever. And it's like, that will taste better right now, but it will add up quickly.
Yeah.
You know, sort of thing. So I feel like I'm having those kind of conversations with myself, and it's just been like, it's like so much, you know, it's like giving yourself permission. It's like, you don't have to like eat all the extra stuff. Like I've just been like, even if we go to, there's like a burger place we love here, and I just like have stopped getting fries, you know?
Oh, sure. Yes.
And it's like, you know what? The burger is more than enough. It's like, you could also eat the fries, but it's not like I've been going hungry.
Right. Yeah.
You
true.
know?
Yeah. Absolutely. And it's a great way to just to cut something out. And like, I mean, I think like to go back to like my version of it with the like the mail thing or whatever. It's like I think it was kind of the same way where like in the beginning I remembered how fun it was to get mail, and maybe even just like that rewarding feeling of like I've made enough money to where I can order something, you know, and it shows up and I don't feel irresponsible about the purchase, like the spending of the money. But it was sort of like, it's the same thing like that you're saying, where it's sort of like, is my day really better at the end of the day? I'm like, got a really cool bar of soap today. Like, you know, like one of the, you know, so like, it's like when you start practicing gratitude, even, I think part of practicing gratitude is starting to realize what stands out to you as worth being gracious for.
Right.
And so like, you know, getting these stupid little like nudges in the mail, it's like maybe it gives me like a very brief hit, but it's certainly not the kind of thing I'm like, at the end of the day being like, I am grateful for my soap.
Right.
You know, like, and it's just, because it's like on some level, it's like, I just don't really think that's like, you know, I don't know if it makes a big enough difference. I don't know that I identify who I am as the kind of scent that this soap is giving me.
Right.
You know, so it's like, so it could be that, or it could be like a bar of Dove. And I don't think that anybody's really
right. Is like, are you buying the soap because it's like environmentally friendly and that's like part of who you are? Or is it just like, this is just cool soap?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, exactly.
Right. I want the soap because I want there to be mail.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I think it's the same thing. It's like, you know, you get to the end of the day and you're like, what? It's like, what actually made me happy today? Or like, you know, what made me full today?
Right.
You know, and it's like, finding those lines are interesting because I think the only way you find them is to be on that constant, like, you know, quest for like a measure of improvement.
Right. Well, so this is, I thought we were talking about this before, like how you've had a few nights recently where you're like, you know what, I'm just like going to bed like early tonight.
Yes.
And you said like normally you were the one who was like, you know, pushing to stay up to like at least 10 o'clock or something.
Right.
Right. And I was saying like, there's like, I've started experiencing almost like a guilty pleasure to going to bed like early sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, where it's
Yeah.
like, sometimes like it'll just sort of time out where it's like, you're watching, like the series you're watching is like, they're all like hour-long episodes, but the way it timed out with bedtime, like the one we were just watching ended at 9:30, and it's like, you want to just go to bed? Because like we don't have time to finish another one, and and if you start another one, it's going to go to 10:30.
True.
And it's like, wow. So you know what? Maybe we'll just go to bed early. And I think what's so funny about it is that it feels like a guilty pleasure because it's sudden, because the rule when you were growing up was don't stay up late. But
Sure.
you've been able to set the timetable for so long for your own rules, which is I get to stay up late until 10, 11, or 12 or whatever. Your new rule is I don't have to listen to the rules. I'll stay up as late as I want.
Right.
That's the rule you have for yourself is I can stay up as late as I want.
Right.
But so now the reverse is happening where you're like, I'm going to break the rules.
I'm going to
go to bed early. And no, what about that? And like, who are you breaking the rules with? Yourself.
Right.
And what rule are you breaking? None. But there is like a thrill to being like, I'm doing it. Like, I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed right now.
When I wake
it's like 8:30. Look at this.
I'm going to feel great when I wake up.
I'm going to feel great when I wake up. Like,
yeah.
like, is this allowed? Can I do this?
Right.
You know? I think that is like the shift I feel like that has been sometimes happening. It's like all the things it's like you get out into the real world and you're trying to make it up and you're like, I'm going to make all my own rules. And then you get to the point and then you're just reversing on them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and I think too, like then like when you start to like live with that extra layer of intention, like I feel like this is maybe like then like where you start to understand a little bit more of what you value, you know, which I think can be interesting because knowing who you are and what you value, I think can bring you a greater sense of like contentment inside. But then I think it's also the kind of thing where like then when like you see it out in the world and somebody's like, yeah, I was up to like 2 a.m. last night or whatever, you're like, you're doing it to yourself.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Like,
you know,
well,
it's like
no one made you do that.
right.
Yeah.
It's like that. I bet you're tired.
I bet you're tired.
And I've been there. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah, of course,
and I mean, maybe it's all just like part of exactly what we're describing, where it's like, you know, you grow up and there's a designated bedtime. Then eventually you reach a certain age where you're like, I have full license. I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do because it's my life. And it's like the growth, the maturity might be like realizing like, you know, going to bed like a little bit earlier, like it helps me. Like I feel better the next day.
Right.
Like I'm more rested. I'm more awake at work. I have more to contribute. I'm in a better mood. Like,
right.
You know, like all those things you're sort of like, oh. But like anything, you have to make the decision for yourself.
Right.
Like, and I think that's the biggest thing.
I think like part of like what makes it easier to make the decision is that it has gone full circle and now you're still breaking, like nothing's actually changed. You're still like being rebellious. It's
Right.
just like your rebelliousness is now manifesting in really responsible behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's true. It's true. but I think that that's great because like I think ultimately you stop fighting so much of your own mechanics.
Right.
And I think that like the further that you get into the like quality of life that comes from making healthy decisions, like it all sounds so cliche. Like I understand that like it could sound like we're at like a self-improvement seminar.
We're just being such dads right now is what we're doing.
Yeah, this is the real PG-30.
I know, the
nature.
PG-30 of it all.
Right. You know, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, like to me, this is just like doing your best. It's like you're just trying to be healthier, more present, finding what matters, like, you know, and I think that those things will just yield more internal joy.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think you're right. And I think there's so much to like that, like, I feel like you learn so much from having kids too, where like, it's so easy to be like, oh my gosh, how do these kids just have endless energy, you know? And it feels like you're always tired. But then it's like, also, like, yes, they probably just have more energy because they're kids. But also, actually, like, of course they have more energy. You put them to bed at, 8 o'clock, 7:30. They
Right.
sleep. You don't go to bed for another 2 hours, and then you wake up before them.
Right.
And in the meantime, you're making them drink nothing but water and milk all day and eat nothing but like vegetables and stuff that's good for them.
Right.
And it's like, of course they have energy. You're forcing them to do everything right.
Like, they're living a perfectly healthy existence.
Right. It's like, of course they have energy. They're getting 10 hours of sleep a night and are well hydrated. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Like, why do you think you're not having the energy?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
How much water have you drank today?
Yeah. How much water have I drank today? I don't know. As many cups as coffee as I had.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that counts.
It does count.
Oh, it does?
Oh, yeah. I mean, coffee's mostly water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a dehydrant.
No, that's a myth.
Oh.
That's a myth.
Okay.
There's water. What is it? Like, how could it not be? How could it not be?
I don't know.
Yeah. Because you pee it out. You're peeing it out. It's still water, man. If you drink water, guess what? You're going to do that too. We're going to pee it out. You know?
We were on such a high.
We were on such a high. We're still on a high, man.
Yeah, I know. We're doing great. We're doing great. Anyway, so yeah, ridiculously, this is like a double long after the final pop.
At this point, we just let it roll. This is just the next episode, you know?
I mean, are we just going to keep going?
I mean, what else you got? But I see here in the notes that you were teaching Addison how to ride her bike. How was that going?
Well, honestly, this is like another example of a moment that was just like, there was like a wall that got broken down, and it was really interesting to witness it because it was so like palpable, the switch flip that happened. So like we've had her, on her Strider bike and stuff like that, and she's had like her scooter, and there's been like a couple small like skin knee related incidents that like stick with her in a big way. It's like she's associating like the scooter with that one accident, and the one accident meant like a boo-boo, and we had to go back to the house and get Band-Aids and like whatever. But then like, when we got closer to the holidays this past season, the thing that she kept coming back to over and over again was wanting a bicycle. And she had this like specific bike. We went to a consignment store here in Roanoke called RMA, Roanoke Mountain Adventures. And it's just a really great outdoor goods consignment store if you're ever in the area. They have so much great stuff. And they had this one like blue and pink bike that she saw, and she was like, I love that.
That's it. The apple of my eye.
Right, exactly. Yes. And so she started talking about it like, like in late October, and then all through November, and then all through December. So sure enough, we were like,
has not stopped thinking about it.
It's like we were like, okay, we're getting her like, the bike or whatever. And so then it arrives, and there's like a whole like course and stuff you can do to like help them like learn how to ride the bike from this particular program. But I threw the training wheels on there. We went out into like a parking lot with you one day. I feel like it was kind of like we were with the boys. I feel like it was kind of like a cold and windy day.
A little bit. Yeah.
And I thought like, with the training wheels, I can basically just plop her on there, let her spin the pedals, and she'll be riding her bike. And, like in due course, we'll take the pedals off and we'll practice like all the other things, and it'll be great. But she really did not take to it at all. She seemed very intimidated. She did not seem to be able to get the pedal strokes down. I feel like she had like a little bit of like a tippiness even with the training wheels.
Well, because training wheels, I think the myth is that they are like all like, because you have 2 training wheels on each side, and there's like, when you think about it, you think like all 4 wheels will be touching the ground.
Right.
But that's not really how they work. They are like, there is a point where if you're riding, I think with training wheels on, wherein like you could still just be riding a bike.
Correct. Like there's enough tilt in either direction. You're right. Yeah. So it's like that like if you were riding perfectly upright, probably neither training wheel would touch.
Right.
And then they're more just there for like a safety type additional measure. And so I think anyway, so we got out there, and I think I sort of like misshot that, and it didn't go that well, and she was really cold, and I think she just got like a little bit spooked. And so over the weekend we had like a beautiful day, and I was like, okay, like let's go down to like this parking lot, like near us, and we'll get out there and we'll like ride bikes, and it's gonna be great. Like this is just like a great opportunity for Dad and Ad to go and practice.
Right.
And so we get out there, and like we get out of the house right away, and she's like, well, I want to ride my bike like to the parking lot. And I was like, okay. And so she gets on there, and like she's struggling, she's kind of like back to nervous, like right away, it's not going that well. Then she's like, maybe I'll just walk. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So like we get down there, and there's like a gentle slope, and so in my head I'm like, okay, this will be great, because if I can put her on the gentle slope, she doesn't even need to pedal. I can just like walk backwards in front of her and let her roll,
and it'll move,
and it's very gentle, so it's just enough to like defy gravity, basically. Like she's not going to pick up any speed,
right?
And so then she's like, no, I need you to hold on to me, I need you to hold on to me, I need you to hold on to me. And so like I'm sitting there and I'm doing it, and it's like this whole thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's like she's still maybe not taking to it the way I thought,
right?
And so like she's kind of like, are you holding on? Are you holding on? And so like I'm holding on to like the handlebar in the back seat. And then eventually I could take like one hand off the handlebar, and she's just doing that. And then I let go of the back seat. And it is one of those moments where you're sort of like, as a parent, like you're taking a little bit of like a leap of faith, because you're like, hopefully this is okay.
Right. Yeah.
I don't like freak her out even more.
She still has the training wheels on. So
right.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm here, like, like I'm literal inches away. But I let go, and she goes like 10 feet all on her own. She's pedaling and everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, Addison. And I held up both hands, and I was like, you're doing it. And I like held both hands in front of her. I'm like, this is all you right now. And she lit up. I mean, just like huge grin, like the amount of pride and her excitement, and like, she skids to a stop, she jumps off, she's immediately like, she's hugging me, she's jumping up and down, she's like, Daddy, I did it, like we need to send a video to Mommy, like, and I mean, it was
that's amazing.
I mean, it was such a great moment. I was so happy, like I couldn't believe it, because I was like, I feel like I'm betraying her trust by letting go. And I was really worried about that,
Well, there's like, there's like, that's always a weird line where it's like, are you betraying their trust, or are you believing in them?
And I was believing, yes. And I definitely was believing. It was like, I wouldn't have shown her that I was doing it if I didn't like let go and like watch her go like another like, 10 feet fully of her own, abilities or whatever. And so then, she got right back up on it. And I mean, it was like we supercharged her enthusiasm. And I mean, it was just immediate, like everything about it like went smoother. The way she was getting on and off the bike was better. The way she was, before she would like, there was a bell on the bike, she would like ring the bell like all the time, as if like ringing the bell is like part
of riding it. Yeah.
Yeah. She like stopped doing that and started like looking forward and like was turning the handlebars, and it was just like everything started clicking into gear so fast. And I was like, whoa, that was wild.
Right.
Like, it was like getting to see somebody be injected with confidence.
Right.
And what that does to you. And it I mean, not that she was like, riding without training wheels or anything like that, but she was doing it. Like, I didn't have to help her.
That's such a cool story.
I know. It was very special. It was very special. So I was super proud.
Well, that's good. What a victory for young Addison.
Yes. And for just the task of teaching your child to ride a bicycle is like, it's such a big one.
Yeah.
Like it feels like, I know this is crazy. It really is. But like when tragedies happen, I think about the fact that all the people who are involved in the tragedy, there was a day that they learned to ride a bike.
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, it's like this bizarre, like, I remember the first time I rode a bike.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like in the Virginia Apparel parking lot in Rocky Mount, Virginia.
Right.
You know, and it was a huge deal. And it was this like first just like, I mean, because you take your first steps, but I don't know how many people remember their first steps.
Probably not. Yeah.
You know,
you're so little.
Right. So it's like, you know, like when you drive a car by yourself for the first time, it's a momentous occasion. The world just got open to you.
Right.
But like a bicycle is like the first little like blip of that. You know, it's like you have a sense of freedom. Like I would not be anywhere near letting her go like ride the block by herself or anything.
Yeah. No.
But like at some point that will happen.
Yeah.
You know, and like that'll be like her vehicle.
Right. Yeah. Should we get around?
Right.
Hop on the bike.
Yeah. So it was a special, glorious, very proud dad moment.
Well, that is awesome.
Thanks.
So I'm sure it will not be long before the training wheels come off and she's just zipping around.
I know.
Nonstop.
Just all over.
Yep. Be great.
It's gonna be very cool.
It's going to be very cool.
Yeah.
Gonna love that. Yep.
All right. Transition?
Sure. All right. This I see another note from you here, Ben. It says the small town treatment at our favorite restaurant is something out of a story.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Like what? Do tell.
Okay.
Where is your favorite restaurant?
So our favorite restaurant for Alice and I in Roanoke is a place called Kabuki.
Oh, okay.
And it is like on the surface, it is this like hibachi restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say that 99% of the people who go there are there for hibachi.
Right. They're there to see the show, the onion volcano.
Yes.
All that.
The
yeah.
flipping the shrimp in the mouth, the
Right.
whole experience.
Yep.
You know, but they also have this like little side sushi room and we love it. And we go like, it's like our date night thing. Like if we got like a babysitter or something, or if it's just Alice and I, or if we've had a bad week or we've had a good week, you know, it's like, it's very, very, very frequently the place that we go.
We're going to Kabuki.
We're going to Kabuki. And it's been like one of these things that we've been going long enough that like we've kind of seen like a little bit of like a rotating cast of characters where there's been like, you know, different servers or, you know, like front host stand people or whatever. The sushi chefs have remained the same. And so like they see us and every single time we come in, they're always just like, hey guys, how's it going? Like, great to see you again. Like, you know, like without fail, we always get like a go-to hello. But then as like time has gone on, we've gotten to know like the bar manager and the guy who like runs the host stand and now like the waitress who like works the table. So like we get there, we walk in and James is the guy who runs the host stand. And I first met him years ago because he worked at PetSmart doing the fish department.
Okay. Wow.
Before I was like properly in the aquarium world, like, you know, I'm going to say professionally, my first part-time job. And so I've always remembered James because he was super sharp, great with fish, knew all sorts of stuff. He remembers me from the fish world. Like we go way back.
Right.
But now he manages, you know, the front end of this restaurant or whatever. So like we walk in right away and he's like overwhelmed with people there for like hibachi and stuff. There's like a line out the door and he's like, we will get you guys figured out. Go take a seat at the bar. We'll be with you like in no time.
Right.
So like right away, I feel like there's like this like special treatment type thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, then we go, we sit down at the bar and right away our bar manager, Rodney, comes right over, sets 2 beers in front of us, which is like our go-to order. We get these Sapporos.
Right. Yeah.
So like we didn't even order. We
right. They just brought this.
sat down.
There's the usual, boys.
The usuals, yes. And so it's like even like Rodney, like his wife owns like the gymnastics company that like we take Addison to. So like we know his kids, he knows Addison. Like there's like a whole wonderful cohesiveness there.
Nice.
You know, and so like he's got our drinks right away. And you know, like we're sitting there, you know, like we wait like 4 minutes, you know, on like a night where like this restaurant is packed. And then he immediately comes over and he's like, you guys can take your beers to your table. And you know, like just like we pop right over to our table. Our waitress who we know comes over and we're like, oh my gosh, you had the baby. And she's like, yeah, well, you know, oh my gosh, like it's been so exciting. And like she's telling us all about like how, you know, she just
I love that your small town restaurant is like the local Japanese hibachi grill.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, so, you know, she's telling us all about Isybelle, her baby, and, you know, like everything's wonderful. And then, you know, like she's like, you guys want, like house soups? And she's like, the guys are already working on your rolls right now. Like, cause they know our order.
Right.
Like,
yeah. You get the same order every time.
Same order every time.
Wow.
So she goes over, she brings the house soups. James comes back by with a free house appetizer that they bring us every time.
Wow.
They like set it at the table, and it was just like, I was like, Ellie, think about this. We walked into this restaurant. They beelined us, in terms of like getting us our table ready, our table.
Right.
At the bar, we didn't have to order. They brought us our beers without saying anything.
Right.
We sat down at the table. The sushi chefs already know we're there. They're already working on our order. They brought us free food and like, had our soups
right.
like, on like go, and it was just like, I was just like, there's something so special about this because like you can go, and like we go out on tour and we go to these like amazing restaurants and we get to see like Chicago and New York City and Boston and San Francisco and Seattle and like Portland and I mean like we
right.
go incredible places, have incredible food, but I'm like there is nowhere we could go and have the experience that we've had tonight.
Right.
Like it's like we've shown loyalty to these people. They show the loyalty back to us. It's like it just is our favorite like place to eat. So it's not like we're like coming here like out of habit. Like
right.
It's our top choice, as like where to go. Everyone knows our name. And I just feel like we're treated like royalty and like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and we've been able to give back, to them, like, go into Rodney's wife's gymnastics class with Addison. And it's like, it's a perfect fit because now Addison has a gymnastics class to go to. Like, I don't know. It just feels like how small towns are supposed to work. And
right.
I just really love it.
That's so cool. And like the end result is that you probably end up going there even more.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Because then you also know that the experience is just going to be so like great.
Right.
And it's like a big enough restaurant that I would say that like, if you were to come to Roanoke, like it probably has more reviews on Google than most other restaurants in Roanoke.
Yeah.
So like if you were looking for a highly reviewed, both in terms of like the number of stars, but also the number of reviews, it probably is going to meet both.
It probably will. I mean, the food's very good. There's honestly like, I feel like there's a chance we'll end up there in the very near future ourselves, just because like, well, when it's Luke's birthday, he always wants to like, he'll let him pick somewhere to go to dinner.
Right.
And he'll always pick Kabuki because
right.
he loves the whole like hibachi show of it all. So he's like going to the side sushi room like you are, but it's like Nick and Nate's birthday this week, which unfortunately Nick is sick today. Right. So we're not going out to dinner like tonight or anything. It's how sad to get sick on your birthday. But like it occurs to me that if we ask them like where do you want to go to dinner, that they will say Kabuki because it's what their older brother always picks.
Sure.
Or because Luke will be like, oh my God, Kabuki, and he'll just suggest it to them and then they'll just agree with him. And I'll be like, I really should have asked when Luke wasn't in the room.
Right.
To get an honest answer out of them.
Maybe that's what you need to do is like find like a good window. Like, hey boys,
right.
Where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go?
Right.
You personally, without influence from your older brother, who will just pick where he wants to go.
It's amazing how influential older brothers are.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah. How does it feel to wield that power?
I never knew I had it. So
right. Yeah. Well, and you know what? I was gonna say like you could ask me too because I'm also an older brother,
right.
But like it somehow doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm not the oldest brother.
Not the oldest brother.
Right.
Yeah. There's a difference, I suppose. So yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll end up at Kabuki ourselves here in the near future, or maybe they'll choose somewhere else, or maybe they just actually like it as much as Luke. But I know Nate doesn't because he's afraid of the fire. So
well, the fire is pretty epic.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's that.
I mean, it's gonna hit you one way or another.
Yeah,
I mean, not physically.
Not gonna physically. Hit you. Hopefully, it's not gonna hit you at all.
I mean, either you will love it or hate it.
Right. Yes.
And like doing the like the shrimp toss is something that used to give me like tremendous anxiety. Like, I mean, it would be the kind of thing because I get that guide everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like if like when you go and they're doing it, they're gonna that guy me. And I know they will.
Yeah.
And it used to be the kind of thing that was the worst, but now I'm like jazzed about it. I'm like, bring it on. Like,
bring it on, dude. I love the shrimp toss.
It's like I get an extra piece of the best shrimp I've ever eaten.
Right.
Like
I get an extra piece of the shrimp and I'm like gonna catch it. It's gonna be a cool trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so basic for enjoying this experience so much because it feels like
This is the thing. You cannot be apathetic about this kind of thing.
Okay.
This is like, don't let the world beat you down to the point where you don't like catching the shrimp at the hibachi place.
I know.
Because it's fun. And if you let it be fun, everyone will have fun with it. And if you're like, oh, it's so awkward and cringy, it's like, that's not fun for anyone. Are you having fun? Because you could be. You could be. You don't have to think it's cringy. You don't have to. You could just have fun with it and catch it.
Right.
Yeah. Don't let those people get you down.
Okay. I won't. I won't. I already put it in the past.
That's right. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's back there.
Right.
You're good at catching the shrimp, you know?
I'm gonna have to have a hard conversation with the next person who tells me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's who you have to have a hard conversation with, Ben.
Like, listen,
These people
you're making
are
me feel bad about my hibachi dinner.
That's right. And I'm not going to have it.
I want to catch the shrimp.
Why would you go to a hibachi place if you're not there to have fun? You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like,
it's not
it's already a corny environment, you know? Like,
it's not a great place to go to be in a bad mood.
Right. You're not there to, like, if you're there judging, like, I'm sorry, you're at the wrong place.
It's true.
You came here for a dinner and a show, all right?
Yeah.
Don't mock the show.
Right, exactly. Right. Yes. Oh, man.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on the shrimp catch.
You're making me really crave shrimp, by
Dude,
the way.
I'm telling you what, I'm craving some shrimp right now.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And there's really no chance I'm going to get it at all today because, as I mentioned, my son is sick, so we're probably just eating at home.
Right, you're probably not going to Kabuki.
Probably not going to Kabuki.
after a day of sponges.
Yeah, after a day of sponges. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, Nick is at home, so he's having like a little. I guess he got the day off school. You know, that's something.
A win.
There's a win on your birthday.
Although I would say that going to school on your birthday is sometimes like a good day.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Actually, last night I went out because I was getting whenever it's one of the kids' birthday, we go out and we get like balloons for them to come down to in the morning.
Okay.
And then, so those are filled with helium, but then I also got a bunch of just like, old fashioned balloons I had to blow up with my lungs.
Oh, wow.
I know. Old school style.
With my lungs.
With my lungs. And we put those in like the hallway outside of their room so that when they come out of their door in the morning, it's like, oh, balloons everywhere. You know, so it was kind of fun.
Well, that's very sweet.
Yeah. But I was out getting the balloons last night, and then I went to Dunkin' Donuts to pick up like some munchkins for them to bring into school, or whatever. And I got home, that's like, you only got one box, and I was like, well, how many munchkins do you think each kid needs, or whatever? She's like, well, there's 2 classes, and I was like, I forgot about that.
That is a good point.
That's a good point. So I guess we'll have to go get more in the morning. But then it turns out we only needed 1 box.
Look at you.
So it worked out.
You nailed it.
I nailed it.
Yeah.
As far as I'm saying, I was like, you know what? Me and Nick, we're aligned, me and him.
That's it. I always knew he wasn't going.
I knew he wasn't going. On some level, I knew he wasn't going. He was just going to stay at home and watch TV all day. Which, on that note, though, okay. So I'm sure many a parent listening or child or teenager has experienced the punishment. I don't think we really had. Well, maybe we did. I feel like when we were kids, you might have said like no TV or something. Whereas now you can just say like no screens, right?
Sure. Yeah. I would say that when we were kids, I mean, it's not like if mom and dad said no TV, it meant that video games were good. Or I'm trying to think of like if a Game Boy would be offline. If they were like, yeah, we're not watching TV right now. You need to go outside and play.
Right.
I feel like that meant you need to go outside and play.
No, you need to go outside and play or something.
Go hit the trampoline or, walk the block or ride your scooter, pogo stick or something.
Yeah. Go ride your pogo stick around the block. Yeah. Build them calf muscles.
I mean, I'm sure we tried.
Yeah. I'm like, can you imagine? How tired would you be?
That one hill. Do you remember the one hill? It was steep.
Yes, I do.
It's like you would like go up past the keys and then you take that right, and it's like,
and this is, mind you, after you already ran up the one hill.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is a steep hill at the top of the hill.
You're not pogoing up there.
Yeah.
But then you turn the corner and you see the husky pinned up in the backyard.
Right.
And you take that left and that right, and then you're back down to Diamond Avenue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Diamond Avenue, right back into Spring Street. It's great.
It's easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Not even a mile. 8/10. So, whatever. Anyway, that was, I think about that sometimes. That was like, what, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade? Just get up at 6 a.m. Not tell mom, like, that we would tell them like the night before, like, I'm going to wake up in the morning and go run.
Yeah.
But like, they wouldn't like get up and like see us off or anything.
We just go do it.
Just go do it.
Yeah. I do remember starting to do that though, and going to a soccer game one day, and people like, I remember some of the other parents being like, wow, Ben's gotten really fast. And they're like, yeah, he's waking up and running before school. And it was like, I remember even in that moment being like, whoa, it makes a difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Who knew?
Yeah. Anyway, the what I was gonna say is like, so we every now and then, you know, if someone's like misbehaving or hitting or, you know, having some big screaming or whatever, to just be like, all right, well, we're just, you know, your punishment will be that we're not like watching TV for the rest of the day, or, you know, no screens or whatever.
No screens. Okay.
And I say, but like, I'm gonna put, you know, punishment in like heavy quotation marks, because the end result is that they have way more fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they hate the idea of not being able to watch TV, but at the same rate, it is like they are infinitely more entertained by playing and doing anything else.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's probably where, like, on some level, like, where screens get us is that they're such an easy solution to being bored.
Right.
But I think that that's probably a good point, where a lot of times it's like the really rich and fulfilling aspects of life don't come from like what comes easiest.
Yeah.
It's usually like something that you like earned. And it's like, that doesn't have to be, everything needs to be like a hustle. You know, sometimes earned just means we went in the backyard and pulled out the baseball bat and had a wiffle ball tournament.
Right.
You know, like, and that counts.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yes.
that's harder than just simply watching a screen, which is like designed to be entertaining.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, like that, it was such a thing, because like, you know, I think, you know, we said that, and there was like, you know, a whole fuss about that. But then for the rest of the day, they just had a blast doing literally everything else in the house.
Nice.
You know? And like, I think when I was out getting the donuts, Beth sent me a picture, and they were like downstairs in the basement having an Olympic wrestling competition, and they were all shirtless and they had like a, you know, a race medal from like a fun run or something, and that was like the gold medal for whoever was winning.
Nice.
And stuff. They came up, and it was just like that's just like, I don't know. It was amazing. I just thought it was so like, y'all are just down there. You managed to intentionally fight each other without getting hurt, which is more than I could say for sometimes when you're literally watching TV.
Right,
You know?
yes. It's like, why is someone crying?
Why is someone crying?
It's
What
like,
is happening?
You cannot be bleeding.
Yeah.
I'm
just like, he was in my spot. It was like, you don't have a spot, you know? Who was there first, right?
I was about to say, wait a second.
Yeah.
You had a spot growing up.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
The most ideal spot.
I was intentional about getting there.
Yes. No, I know.
I didn't move people from the spot. No one sat in the spot.
Yeah, you retell the story however you see fit.
I mean, that is how I remember it.
No, I know. I mean, I think it was the kind of thing where it was like, this is the glory of being the older brother, where it was almost like even mom and dad, I feel like, would be like, well, it's Jonathan's spot. And it's like, oh no, now they're in on it. It's like, well, now I can't sit there. It's like, we've deemed it Jonathan's spot.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know it was my spot. You know, it's definitely where I like to be the most.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the funny story that it makes so much more sense now, but it's like one of those things from childhood that always felt like the most unfair. Was there was your seat, and then there was like an ottoman, and I remember one day I was sitting on the ottoman and I was facing you, and you took both feet and kicked me in the chest, and I fell backwards on the ground and started crying.
Oh, sorry.
And I ran into the other room and I was like, Mom, Jay just kicked me off the chair, and Mom sent me to my room.
Right.
And I was like, I think growing up, I was like, you have to be kidding me.
Right.
Like, this is the greatest injustice that's ever occurred.
Ever.
Textbooks
On Earth.
will write stories about the great Ottoman Empire incident.
Bunch of people with their feet up, man.
I know, yeah. But then as you get older, you start to realize that Mom is just cooking dinner for all of us in the other room, and she is not paying attention to any of it. There's just a crying kid in the room, and it's sort of like, can you please be anywhere but here?
Right. That's exactly
now?
what it is.
Yeah. And it was like, you know, but from my perspective, I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
And I'm sure from Mom's perspective, at the same rate, like you, there's no, like, you did something.
Yes,
right.
like you were asking for it,
Right.
or like you must have annoyed him or something.
Right. And it's like, it doesn't really matter which one of you's crying because someone was going to be crying. And what I don't want is any of you fighting at all.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that there was conflict of any kind is what's bothering me.
Right. Yes.
Right.
And I'm sure that mom probably wouldn't even remember the specific incident because how could she? Like from her perspective, it was just another time she had to like.
That was just the next 30 seconds that day.
Right. Yeah. Just solving this problem.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it was like, no. This time is different.
This is different.
It's
Okay.
like, I got like brutalized.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe it was. Maybe that was really what happened,
Yeah. It was. Yeah. There's no way I would remember it this way if it didn't happen.
Well, I don't even remember it all, so
It's
I
funny.
guess I'll have to take you at your word.
Yeah. It's so funny how I can go back to that memory and I can still it's like a little seedling, but it's like this like little small golden droplet of pain.
Uh-huh.
And it's like I can still feel it.
You can still feel it.
It's like when I think about it enough, I'm like, oh, it's still.
Do you feel the
sucks.
pain of being kicked in the chest or the injustice of the
injustice.
ruling?
No,
Okay.
the pain was fine. Whatever. You got nothing.
Yeah.
You got scrawny little legs. Yeah.
It knocked you off the couch.
I was fine.
Yeah.
But it was I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that I was being hollered at.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
for that. I mean, it was just come on now. This is so unfair.
You were getting like Phineas and Ferb there.
I don't know what that
A little
means.
bit like, well, the premise of basically every episode of Phineas and Ferb is that their older sister Candace is trying to catch them doing whatever they're doing, which is usually just like building some giant, large, dangerous structure in the backyard.
Okay.
And no matter what, Candace will spend the whole episode trying to get their mom to come outside and catch them doing it.
Right.
And the other half of the episode is their pet, Perry the platypus, is off fighting the evil Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Okay.
Who has, a new invention of the day to take over the Tri-City area or whatever. And no matter what, Perry's defeat of Dr. Doofenshmirtz will also evaporate whatever the boys built in the backyard.
Oh,
and it will
no.
always happen right as mom turns around. And like Candace will be looking at it, she'll go get mom, she'll come back, it's all gone. Completely gone.
Completely
in
gone.
one comical scenario after another. It is the same thing every episode and it's hilarious. But that's exactly what it is. It's just like you were like, oh, I got him this time. I got him. Mom. And then mom turns around and she's like, what's the matter, Ben? I don't see it. There's nothing in the backyard. There's nothing to see here. In fact, you're annoying me. Go away.
Yeah.
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 The
Dang it.
irony is that Candace is the older sibling.
That is the irony.
Yeah.
That is the irony. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's not hard for me to figure out my middle child syndrome.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
because
like-
you're the middle child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was firmly planted exactly where I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I've grown into it well.
Totally.
It's like some people call me Pringles because how many chips that are on my shoulder. That's a joke. Nobody calls me Pringles.
Yeah, that'd be a bad nickname.
It would be. Although you could be named Pringles because you have the mustache.
Well, but I don't like Pringles.
Oh.
You
did until
did.
Until the great can I eat an entire tube of them in under 10 minutes with no liquids incident of 2023.
Yeah, which I did. And I won. But at what cost? No more Pringles. Oh, no.
What did I was watching actually at Kabuki the other night, Infinity War.
Yeah.
When Thanos does the snap and then he's like in like the little weird area where baby Gamora is.
Yeah.
And she's like, what did it cost you? And he's like,
Everything. Yeah. 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 It didn't have to, Thanos, okay? You probably didn't have to kill Gamora there, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
he needed the soul stone.
When Beth was getting snacks for Nick and Nate for their birthday, we got them a couple of things. We got them like some nerd clusters. We got them some body armor, which is not like the drink body armor, like the Dude Perfect guy's drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally, yeah.
Which, boy, let me tell you what, the novelty of which has not worn off at all. They pulled that out. They were as excited for that as anything else they got.
Really?
One single bottle of body armor. Which that to me was hilarious.
It feels like this would be like an easy enough thing to like supply them with. Like I don't think mom and dad were like, no, you can't have Gatorade.
No,
growing up.
we have Gatorade in the fridge that
Right.
they can have after practices and games and stuff.
Okay.
But body armor is special, I
Okay,
guess.
Okay. So is there a part of you that like wants to keep it special?
I mean, I guess. I don't know. This is only like the second time they've ever had it. So
Okay.
whatever. They were very excited. But when we were discussing what to get for the boy, what these snacks were going to be, she's like, oh, I think this would be fun. I'll get him some like body armor and some like maybe some like Pringles or something. And I was like, I'm sorry, are we discussing treats here? Why would we get them Pringles?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Because you're like, Pringles are not a treat.
Pringles are not a treat. What are you talking about? Have they even had Pringles?
They probably don't want to.
I know. She was like, "What well, don't be Pringles, like maybe like Cheetos or something." And I was like, "Cheetos, now we're talking."
That's a way better.
That's a way better treat.
Way better treat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we got them, and they were indeed excited about them.
Nice.
I'm glad I saved them from a tube of reconstituted chip bits.
Chip bits.
Yeah.
It's like where like all the other chip companies go and take all the crumbs that didn't make it in the bag and mash them into a paste that then gets formed into the Pringle shape.
It's pretty much what I assume is exactly what's happening down at Big Pringles.
Right. It's the real like Cotopaxil of the chip world.
Right, yes.
Cotopaxi. Is that the name of the company? They're the ones that make like the outdoor equipment, but it's made out of like all the leave-ins from all the other outdoor companies.
Oh, okay.
So they're like very colorful and stuff.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. If only Pringles were so colorful.
I know. Yeah, they're not.
But they're
really.
not.
No.
Yeah. That is, I think that's probably what's happening. It's just like all the people down at like Nabisco and Lay's and stuff, they're just sort of like, yep, hey guys, don't throw out your chip bits. Send them to us. It's called recycling or something.
Yeah.
We'll put them in our weird shaped flat press machine, puts them in this weird Mobius strip shape thing. Half of it anyway.
Half of it. People can make duck faces. The original duck face.
The original duck face. Pringles. Everyone feels better. You didn't waste your chips, and we turned them into other chips.
And now the customer is going to the bathroom.
And now the customer's in the bathroom. And they can see if they can eat a whole tube of Pringles in under 10 minutes without new water.
I would be so curious to know if throughout the course of the history of the pop, we have ever talked about Pringles not related to the eating competition, and at that point in time, whether or not you were pro Pringle.
I'm sure I probably was.
Yeah.
Although I will also say that one time when I was in college, I got the norovirus, as one does.
Yeah.
At college.
It was bad.
Yeah, it's bad. You don't want it. Let me tell you, that's 24 hours. You're not getting back.
Right. That's a day wasted.
That's a day gone. You can just delete it.
Delete it.
Delete.
And try not to remember it.
Try not to remember
you
it.
Will.
But you will.
Yeah.
And probably something you ate the day before is going to take a bullet, and you're going to be like, I can't eat that anymore. And ironically, whilst it wasn't Pringles, it was Lay's Stacks.
No way.
Yeah.
So similar.
So similar. Basically, Lay's answer to Pringles. They're like, we'll try and reconstitute the chip bits ourselves. And they're not as good. They're like thicker and weird, and it doesn't matter. Why would you eat those either?
They're like thicker and weird.
Look, chips aren't meant to be stacked, people. They come in bags, all right?
Irregular forms.
Irregular forms. Chips are an imperfect, perfect food, and that's what's great about them.
You should be able to tell the shape of the potato.
Exactly.
That they came
you
from.
You don't want a uniform chip. Okay, that's not what we're going for.
No.
If you can stack your chips, you need to be suspicious of that chip because that's not naturally occurring.
Right.
Okay. And I know this is a processed food to begin with, but they're double processing the Pringles and the stacks.
And the stacks. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think we can possibly end on a higher note than that.
I think you're right.
All right, people. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into this week's episode of what was supposed to be after the final pop and instead turned into a full episode of the pop.
That's right.
Thank you for helping us in our quest towards productivity. As always, if you have any feedback for the show, you can send it over to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/popcornculture. Links to that and all the descriptions down below. But otherwise, until next time,
Pop, pop! Should re-record the intro too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Today's episode was edited by Isybelle Christley. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager. And the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.